Open Instagram right now. Type Stoicism into the search bar. I'll wait. What you're going to see is a marble statue with a dark blue filter, some sad piano in a minor chord, and a sentence in all caps that reads something like, "While they sleep, he builds." Sometimes it's Marcus Aurelius. Sometimes it's a generic Hercules from someone's suburban garden fountain. Nobody checks, because nobody in that feed has actually read anything. This is the internet's Stoic. The man who doesn't feel, doesn't cry at the funeral, doesn't respond to provocation, doesn't say, "I love you," because expressing anything is leaking intel to the enemy. Cold shower at 5 a.m., jaw permanently set. Ask him how he's feeling, he'll tell you nothing. And he'll consider that an achievement, a medal he earned for switching off part of himself. Even the dictionary helped ruin this. Look up Stoic. First definition is something like enduring pain without showing feelings or complaining. Official. Stamped. Google approved. So a 19-year-old who just got dumped reads that and thinks, there it is, there's my character. And that's exactly what it is. A character, a costume. Look, I get it. The world's a mess. Your entire generation is anxious. And here comes a philosophy that's 2,000 years old. That kind of number carries authority. It promises immunity from rejection, from fear, from that Sunday night feeling when you realize your life isn't going anywhere. Who wouldn't want that? I'd want it. I kind of did buy it once, in a phase I'd rather not describe because it involved a motivational wallpaper on my phone. But the product in the packaging doesn't exist. The actual Stoicism, the stuff written in letters by some guys 2 millennia ago, never once promised you'd stop feeling. Never. They promised close to the opposite. What's circulating in your feed is a caricature. Someone took a philosophy about living well with virtue in service to others and boiled it down until only the skeleton was left. And the skeleton sells courses. Stay cold. Stay hard. Win. Pay attention to who's selling it. Masculinity influencer. Lamborghini rental guy. High-performance channel with a mandible-clenching thumbnail. Stoicism became the raw material of the optimized male industry. And it became that because it's perfect for it. Greek philosophy name. Emperor's bust. Fits in a 10-slide carousel. So this video is about how we took one of the most solid mental toolkits humanity ever produced and turned it into a religion for a man who never grew up. With dogma, ritual, a prophet selling salvation in 12 monthly payments. Why this specific guy? Why did internet stoicism land so precisely on the young man who's slightly lost, usually recently rejected by something? A woman, a job, a friend group that moved on without him? Think about it. What does this guy have at the core? He feels too much and doesn't know what to do with it. And then someone shows up and offers a system. Not a system to understand what he's feeling. That would hurt. That would require looking at one of the ugliest things inside him. The system on offer is simpler. Stop feeling, dude. Treat every emotion as an enemy. Treat vulnerability as defeat. And best of all, I'll give you a beautiful name for it. You're not running from your problems. You're a stoic. You're not shut down. You're disciplined. What a product. It takes the guy's biggest defect and hands it back to him wrapped as a virtue. Same mechanic every cult uses. Good cults don't sell you an idea. They sell you an identity. An idea you debate. An identity you defend tooth and nail, because attacking the identity is attacking you. I know this kid. I'm not talking down at him. There was a period after a breakup where I decided I was going to become a machine. That was the word I used. A machine. Up at 5, gym, work, read, sleep, repeat. Zero room to miss someone because the schedule didn't allow it. It worked for 4 months. I was productive, I was lean, I was insufferable. Then one day I was walking through Target and saw a specific brand of cookie she used to buy. I cried in the cookie aisle at Target. 4 months of machine dismantled by a package of Oreos. The emotion hadn't gone anywhere. It was waiting in line. Emotion always waits in line. Internet stoicism is ultimately a technology of postponement. It postpones grief. It postpones the difficult conversation. It postpones looking in the mirror. And like every technology of postponement, it charges interest. The bill came with a bibliography. In 2022, a study was published, roughly translated from academic speak, called Misunderstood Stoicism, the negative association between Stoic ideology and well-being. The finding: people who understand Stoicism as emotional suppression don't show, don't ask for help, take it silently, present worse psychological outcomes, more loneliness, more chronic dissatisfaction, more depression. The philosophy that literally underpins cognitive behavioral therapy, the gold standard treatment in modern psychology, when badly digested produces the opposite effect. The medicine turned into poison in the hands of someone who never read the label, and there's a mechanism you don't even need a study for. Thought suppression doesn't work. Try not thinking about a white bear right now. You just thought about it. When you mark an emotion as forbidden, your brain flags it as a threat, and threats get priority. So the fear you push down comes back bigger. The shame you swallowed ferments. The sadness you defeated on Monday will be waiting for you Thursday night. The internet stoic is running software that amplifies exactly what he swears he eliminated. What comes out of that production line? A 30-something guy who doesn't have a single friend to call at 2 a.m. 6 years into a relationship where he's never once said what he needs, because needing is a leak. Fine. Always fine. That specific fine delivered through the jaw. And one day he explodes in a random place. Traffic, a meeting, a family group chat, and nobody understands where it came from, because the history was kept classified, even from him. The boys wrote the opposite. The entire cathedral of the man who doesn't feel was built on top of some texts that exist, that you can buy for $12, and when you open them, they say the opposite. Seneca, patron saint of the Instagram Stoic, his bust in half their thumbnails, wrote to his student Lucilius, "I do not remove the wise man from the category of human beings, nor deny him the sensation of pain, as if he were a stone. The wise man will tremble, will feel pain, will grow pale, will shake." The guy who became the mascot of the Man of Ice literally wrote, with his own hand, that whoever doesn't tremble is a stone, and being a stone was never the point. The point was feel, and don't get dragged, which is a completely different conversation. Think about how absurd the transmission chain is. A Roman writes intimate letters admitting weakness, doubt, fear of death. 2,000 years later, someone crops a sentence, pastes it over a photo of a lion, and uses it to convince a kid in some Ohio suburb that real men don't cry. The text survived 2 millennia, fires, empires collapsing, and it didn't survive the carousel designer. A wall and an axis are different things. So what is Stoicism, if it isn't about not feeling? Picture 2 men at the same funeral, both burying their father. The first one has his jaw locked. He didn't shed a tear. He received the hugs the way you receive a package. Back at his desk Monday at 7 a.m., everyone said, "What strength?" 3 years later, that same man can't explain why he's furious at his wife, why he's drinking more each year, why the entire month of December he was insufferable and didn't even notice that December was his father's month. The second one cried at the funeral, cried hard. Then he got up, gave the speech, handled the estate, took care of his mother, went back to work when he could. The pain went through him. It hurt as much as it had to hurt, and then it moved on, because he didn't build any dams in the way. The first one has a wall, the second one has an axis. It's not armor, it's a spine. The wall tries to keep things from entering, spends monstrous energy doing it. Still fails because emotion doesn't ask for permission. It's already inside. The axis lets everything in. Fear, grief, humiliation, and joy too, because these people forget that joy is also an emotion, and just doesn't let any of it drive the car. He feels everything. Whoever signs the emotions is still him. Epictetus, ex-slave, bad leg, teaching in some corner of Greece, described 2,000 years ago what cognitive therapy rediscovered in the 20th century and patented under a new name. You are not your thoughts. You are the one watching them. And the one watching gets to choose how much credit to hand out. Notice this requires feeling well. To examine an emotion, you first have to admit it exists. The wall guy can't do that. He's too busy pretending the hallway is empty. Here's the ruler, simple to apply. Does your calm cost you a lot or a little? If you need constant effort, vigilance, a locked jaw to keep the facade up, that's a wall. And walls crack. If the calm holds even with everything getting in, that might be what those Romans called wisdom. The guys who were shaking, the guys themselves said it. Every religion needs a hell. Look at internet stoicism honestly. It has dogma, man doesn't feel, no debate. Ritual, cold shower, 5 a.m., wake up, performative reading with a timer. Scripture nobody reads, but everyone quotes. Plaster saints from Amazon. A priesthood. The influencer who mediates the doctrine and collects tithe in the form of coaching. A tribe with a uniform and a vocabulary. We're locked in, King. Trust the process. And it has the ingredient without which no religion stands. It has a hell. Their hell is being ordinary, feeling what everyone feels, failing the way everyone fails, needing other people the way everyone needs them. The entire marketing of this cult is the terror of being a normal man, except, and this is the big irony, the original Stoicism was, maybe before anything else, a philosophy about accepting being ordinary. Marcus Aurelius, emperor, the most powerful man on the planet at his time, wrote notes to himself, reminding himself he was going to die, he was going to be forgotten, and that the people flattering him would flatter the next guy the same afternoon. He wrote that to help himself sleep. Private journal, never meant for publication. The guy spent his life training to remember he was a nobody, and this cult uses his face to sell the promise of not being a nobody. The Sophist Was You. Here's the part I actually want to close on. I bet you've been watching this whole video thinking about someone else. Your gym bro coworker, the guy who quote tweets Ryan Holiday every morning. Your brother-in-law who does a cold plunge on Instagram and never once asked how you were doing when your father was sick. Fair. That guy exists. Nothing I said absolves him. But turn the mirror for a second. Hold the urge to look away. How many times has the wall been you? How many times have you told someone I'm fine when you were absolutely not fine, and mistaken that for maturity? How many times have you postponed a difficult conversation because it felt more disciplined to just work harder instead? How many times have you converted a real grief into a protocol, a workout plan, a productivity system, a reading challenge, because a protocol made it feel like you were doing something and doing something felt safer than sitting with it? I've been the wall more times than I have the stomach to count. And the cruel part is that in the moments I didn't see myself doing it. I saw myself being strong, being reliable, being what a man is supposed to be. Nobody wakes up and decides today I'm going to armor over. You just quietly get better at not feeling. And your brain, obliging as ever, labels the whole thing as growth. Because from the outside and from your own mirror, a wall and an axis look identical. They both hold you upright. The difference only shows up years later, in a Target cookie aisle, in a random Tuesday explosion nobody understands, in a marriage that ended with a partner saying, "I just never knew what was going on in there." Go read the book. I don't have a lesson for you here. No moral, no 5-step framework. Go read the actual thing. Seneca, Letters from a Stoic. Epictetus, the Enchiridion. It's thin, you can finish it in a weekend. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations. $12 each on Amazon. Cheaper than the supplement stack you're currently on. And when you read them suspicious of me too. I'm just another guy on the internet talking about Stoicism, and at this point you should have picked up a general skepticism toward that whole category. But read them. Because underneath the market, the filtered statue, and the 12 monthly payment course, there's something rare. Some men who died 2,000 years ago, who got a lot of things wrong, felt everything, and had the decency to write down what they learned trying. That's not a religion. That's a conversation. And a good conversation, unlike a cult, doesn't ask you to stop feeling. It asks you to pay attention.